One thing about narcissistic abusers is that they project their own perceived shortcomings in themselves onto you. I grew up hearing that I was selfish more often than I heard my own name, which was almost always yelled, by the way, which is one of the reasons I changed my name. It became a dead name to me because it still gives me trauma because it was yelled so often. Like every single day, she would call me selfish. No one was more selfish than my mom, and like she projected this image of being the most selfless person. Like she gave up everything for her kids and sacrificed so much for her marriage and was such a victim all the time. Like my mom got a full set of veneers for her teeth, and I never even got braces. My little brother got all kinds of dental work done. Why didn't I get braces? Why couldn't they afford that when they could afford the latest video game console? And the whole world had to revolve around her. Like we had to walk at her pace. We had to eat food that she could eat. I didn't have foreign food until I was probably 14 or 15. I had Thai food with my dad at work, and I was like, oh, this is the life you're living out here while the rest of us like are straggling alone at home with Lipton noodle soup for lunch. But anyway, I digress. My mom told me that she had me in order to feel loved. She brought me into poverty and into a home that she knew was dysfunctional and just did it anyway so that she could get married. And she called me selfish. She called me a spoiled, selfish brat. That was something I heard over and over and over and over. Such a spoiled, selfish brat. And I remember that didn't make any sense, because if I'm spoiled, it's because you spoiled me. Like, spoiled is like a result of a parent's action. It's to describe a kid that's given everything they want. But my mom did not give us everything we want, and we were not spoiled or entitled, and we didn't even expect the bare minimum emotional competence from her. We learned to deal with our own stuff, and we learned to manage her stuff too, because we had to keep her mood happy. We had to keep her happy so that we could have a peaceful life. We always had to walk on eggshells around her. We had to creep around when she was asleep. She would never creep around when we were asleep. She was just as loud as she wanted to be. You know, these are all like narcissist playbook things, but my mom projected her selfishness onto me quite a great deal. And I grew up believing that I was a selfish kid, because if we went to a theme park, I would ask for an ice cream there or something. You know, something normal, like a normal little kid thing, and I would always get in response, nothing is ever enough for you. You're such a spoiled, selfish brat. I am the most generous person I know. Like, I would literally help anybody that I care about in the blink of an eye. And I have helped people lots of times. I cared enough about other people to examine what my religious beliefs had taught me and turn to science for some answers. And I learned a whole lot more about myself, and I learned a whole lot more about colonialism and the structures that keep everything the way it is right now. And I don't know, maybe that's beyond the scope of a little short video here, but if you grew up being called something by your narcissistic parent, you're probably the opposite of that thing. Because narcissists like to project their own qualities onto you. They don't actually see you as a separate person. They're mind melded with you, and they think that you are an extension of themselves. Their empathy is broken. So anything that they hate about themselves gets projected onto you, because they can't accept that there's anything wrong with them, that they've made any mistakes, that there's any negatives about themselves. Because what they do is they split people into good and bad. The same person can be good one day and bad the next, which really does a number on your attachment as a child. If people are good or all bad, which one do you want to be? You want to be all good, so you can't accept any negatives about yourself. It's the emotional reasoning of about a 7-year-old, actually. So because they are good and not bad, they are not allowed to have bad days, they are not allowed to have bad moments. So they hate themselves whenever they have a bad moment or a bad day. Their self-image is so fragile. Whether it's a grandiose or a vulnerable narcissist, their egos are so fragile that they cannot accept that they have done any negative thing. That is why we are met so intensely when we try to point out a flaw of theirs. hey, what you did really hurt me. A normal thing to do in a relationship, right? But if you say that to a narcissistic parent, they're like, oh, I guess I'm the worst mom in the world, and, you know, it turns into a catastrophe for no reason. Good people don't do the things that you're accusing me of, so therefore I can't have done them. If a narcissist is projecting quality onto you, it's because they hate it about themselves, not because you are actually that thing. They actually hate it even more if you are good at something they're bad at. It makes them look worse. So I hope this helps somebody who grew up hearing you were so selfish or anything like that, because you weren't. That's just abuse. Even if I was an entitled kid, yelling at me and calling me a spoiled, selfish brat is not going to make me not be an entitled kid. It's just going to damage the attachment. Anyway, just some thoughts on projection and narcissistic abusers.